Hey guys, so I watched the video on the power of vulnerability by Brene Brown. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was what stood out the most to me, and it was kind of this idea of like why we struggle with vulnerability so much, and like as a result of that, numbing everything. And Brene talked about how we cannot selectively numb emotion, which I think is something that like I personally have done in my life or tried to do. And actually this past winter break, I heard someone like a counselor was speaking to me and a group of like my friends, and she talked about like this idea of like you cannot experience like deep joy without deep sorrow, and how there's like two halves of these emotions, and you can't like fully experience one without the other. And I was thinking a lot about that while Brene Brown was talking, and I just really think that her talk was really important. I think it's something that we gloss over a lot, and I think that's because it's scary, because vulnerability is scary for us. I also liked how she talked about like the group of people that had a strong sense of worthiness. She called them wholehearted. I found that really, really interesting, and how they just live out that sense of worthiness with like courage to be imperfect and to take risks, and just like this sense of security knowing that when they do take those risks, the result of that doesn't impact their identity and who they are. And I think that's something to just keep in mind in general, especially as college age students, because we are still developing and maturing into people that we're going to be. And yeah, I just found it really interesting how the connection was like a result of authenticity. And I think that a lot of times in our society, like we talk a lot about authenticity and vulnerability, and I think we overuse that word a lot, and we don't really understand the true meaning of that. I think we can share things going on in our lives while not really being authentic or vulnerable. And I think we can be like very selective with that to like kind of like showcase our vulnerability without actually being vulnerable, and like still protecting like the stuff that's closest to our hearts. But I found it really interesting how she was so vulnerable about her journey through that, even talking about seeing a counselor and working through therapy. And yeah, I just think her talk was really, really important. And it's something that is hard to learn and painful to learn, but that we all should dive into, especially if vulnerability and the sense of belonging is something that we all struggle with. So yeah.